What's up, everybody? So, I'm going to talk real quick. This is going to be one of those talking ones. And I'm going to talk real quick about gray walking and what gray walking is. It's a really fun metaphor I've been working on for a little bit. Gray walking, gray talking. Because it's mostly talking, but you do walk in that shit. And first, it's where the term came from for me is I was looking a lot at Artorias, the Abyss Walker, and his caricature, and where he was modeled after is the Berserk character Guts. I've always loved these characters for the last fucking what, almost 10 years now. I've loved these characters, and the truth is, they aren't Abyss Walkers. Artorias was never an Abyss Walker. He is a Grey Walker in my analogy, and Guts, the Black Knight, or excuse me, the Black Swordsman, is the original Grey Walker, or he's a caricature. Blah, 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 blah. You know the Black Knight analogy? Like a Black Knight, they look bad and they're actually good. This is the Grey Walker analogy, and it is so much bigger than that. These characters always dress a bit dark, a bit evil looking. And why do they do that? Why does a Grey Walker look dark and evil? Because they spend a lot of time in a very balanced place. They're in the light and they travel into the dark. And what is in the dark but spooky shit? So what do? Every fucking Halloween. Why is it a tradition to put on masks? It's not just for fun and trick-or-treating, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just for drunk parties. We put on Halloween masks because it's a tradition. It was the night of Hallows Eve was supposed to be the closest to a spiritual setting. The veil is supposed to be thinner on that day. So we put on masks so we don't show that we're human amongst the spirits. That's the tradition. And why do you wear a mask? To scare off evil? If evil sees you as evil, then it would walk right by you. That was the theory. It's not a bad theory. Because when you're dealing with rough people, if you look rough, they just pass you by, don't they? They don't pay you any business. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to deal with rough people. Grey walking is more than just looking apart, though. It's literally, I described it as a counter manipulative tactic recently. And it really is. The way I visualize grey walking is simple. Imagine yourself right now. You're on a gray pathway, a gray brick road if you need to. Imagine just gray rocks stretching out in front of you. Nothing else, just gray rocks. You don't need to see anything else. On the left side now, bright white light. On the right, pitch black. And they come together on your gray path. Why do I now see it this way? To help you organize your thoughts really quickly, okay? Black and white, they don't have to represent anything. They're just colors, or the absence of color if you're an art critic or whatever. They're colors, because you can mix them, you can use them in paint. They are colors. Anyway, when these two colors come together, they create gray. And right now, in this representation of gray walking, black is going to represent not chaos and order here, but dark intentions, let's say. Fueled by ignorance, usually. But let's just leave that part out for now. Black is dark. It's evil. Let's just call it evil for now. White is good and pure intention, right? Good quality, happiness, and what is it? Progress, really, it's progress and building. So what happens next? You have to understand that if there are people who dress dark and have good intentions, they won't be in the white of this analogy. They'll be in the black. And you have to be able to understand that they have a mirror image. Because everybody has a mirror image in this analogy. We all walk a gray line because we're all gray walkers. People who I give the title to are people who embrace it. Because the truth is, even if you're in the light and you're pure white and nice and happy, if you're a Griffith, if you watch or read Berserk, you know what I'm talking about. If you look like a white knight and you're walking around acting like one and doing good deeds, awesome. But that also puts up a false perception. There are other people who will dress the part, act the part, and have no intention of playing the part out in truth. And why do we need to see this? Because these are the type of people who will manipulate you completely. So visualize yourself on the gray path, and when you meet somebody and you see them and they're on the white side or the dark side, either way, you have to hold up a fucking mirror and see two of them. You have to see both. Because why do you have to see both of them? You have to see around their intentions. Unfortunately, this is exactly how you do not get manipulated. Because the world is full of good and bad looking good and good looking bad. And that's the truth. So, if you walk the gray path, you'll find yourself free from a lot of crazy influence that you didn't even know existed. Keep that shit in mind, yo. When I walk the gray path, well, I like to picture myself holding up a big sword. Because I own a great sword now, and it's just too cool to not picture it. The weight of it, it's just in my head perfectly, dude. Anyway, it's got a mirror image on it, right? So I'm holding that shit easy. And I can fucking put the mirror up to anybody who comes. And it shows you the truth, bro. It really does. All you need to do is sit there and think about it for a little bit. Why are they coming at you? And what do they appear? And from there on, you can figure out exactly what you need to do. Because, what do they say? The truth always comes out. What's done in the dark always comes to the light. That's absolutely real. And as long as you're paying attention, somebody who's manipulating you will show you enough puzzle pieces to give you your freedom. And this is where you have to act. This is where the analogy gets a little tricky. You might have to jump a little bit further into the dark side and get tough on whoever's trying to push you around, because sometimes the manipulation doesn't stop. Even if you say no, even if you tell them you figured them out, they won't stop. In fact, they'll change their game. And that's the sad truth, is sometimes they do. And I hate to say this, dude, but it is, once you figured out you're dealing with a manipulator, the work gets big, because you really have to earn the trust in such a tough way. And my point is, it's almost not worth it. So when you find out you're being manipulated and you don't have many ties, I suggest you move on, because it's not a good idea to work that hard for something that you end up, what? Probably regretting again all over. And that's why I believe in thinking like a gray walker in a way. Keeping that analogy alive in my head allows me to maneuver through, let's just say, chaotic waters better. Moving on in the analogy of gray walking. I said you have to hop in the black a little bit, but you stay by the gray path. And you know how you do that? I like to do it by switching hands with that sword, bro. You put the weight on the left side of you. You put the big mirror, whatever you're holding that reflects images, on the left side of you. Put that heavy weight over there so you don't fall off, go to dark side, and start doing stupid shit like screaming and breaking shit. Because that is what it is. Evil, as we said before, let's dive into that because it's the time. Why would you ever dive into something called evil? Because it's not evil, guys. What is darkness but just ignorance and anger? Because ignorance breeds anger. And of course, when you're slighted, it's okay to be a bit angry. And you need to use the tools of anger at the right time. And why do you stay close to the gray path? And why do you keep that reflection with you so closely? Because it's time to turn it on yourself. If you jump into the dark to defend yourself, keep a fucking eye on yourself. Why? Because there's no point in losing yourself to chaos, which is what will represent the dark now. Because what is chaos but ignorance and no barriers, just energy flowing wildly and rampantly. And that's why you don't go too far, because you will lose control. And this is why anger has a link to temper tantrums, because anger offers you an excuse to go dark. But if you hold up that mirror and you look at yourself while you're doing it, watch and learn. You'll see yourself make some very intelligent decisions while getting out of the face of adversity, because it takes some darkness to fight some darkness, and manipulation is darkness in a way, because you should not manipulate people to do things for you, ever. Intelligence, guys, the smarter you get, you'll feel it. It's intrinsically peaceful. You know it to be true yourself. I know it. It's if you know selfishness, and selflessness are actually full circle. What does that mean? It means it pays to do both, because you're just greasing a wheel of logic that'll help you out. If you're selfish, you're helping yourself in the moment for sure, and you need to watch your back. But if you're selfless, you're helping yourself in the long run. The Pay It Forward movie, where the little kid from The Sixth Sense pays it forward. He says, do a good deed and then tell them to do 3 more to other people, not him. That shit is real. That's being selfless. And what happens? It comes back full circle on you. So, it's not smart to manipulate people with lies and make them do your shit and steal your shit. It is not okay. You have to look yourself in the mirror and realize that you're literally, if you're doing this kind of thing, if you're one of these people who operates in secrets and manipulation, you need to understand that you're hindering the human race. For what reason? Why rob yourself of a future? Why rob your DNA of a future? We share common DNA. Human beings are fucking brothers and fucking sisters, dude. It doesn't matter. It matters a little bit. I'm glad there's diversity amongst the DNA, but that's a blessing, not a fucking curse. Do you understand that? That means we can have fun without feeling weird. Okay? Why do people spit in the face of diversity? Makes no sense. Seriously. Okay, back to the analogy of gray walking. After you found yourself out of adversity and you've held that mirror close so you know you don't go too far, Because you're looking yourself in the eye and you're watching your actions. From what? What does that mirror image represent when you're in the dark? It represents the light side, because that's where it is standing. You hold the mirror up, where is that image? It's exactly on the opposite side of you. And why is that? Because you need to understand that that is still you. Watch yourself from how you appreciate life, and don't go too far. Keep yourself in mind while you're getting out of adversity, because you don't want to make a mistake that you'll regret. Fuck that, right? No regrets, dude. Live strong. Fuck that. Which means live smart. And living smart means walking the gray path, dude. You gotta gray walk that shit. And sometimes, dude, you don't even need to take action. Which is why I say gray walking, gray fucking talking, dude. All you need to do is speak. And what is the best part about that mirror greatsword I keep talking about? That fucking edge right there? That shit? It is the truth, bro. So you don't even need to get angry. Sometimes anger is the only way. But that sword right there is intimidating. And that edge, all you need to do to cut through any manipulation, any adversity, is use the edge, bro. It is... Excuse me, someone just joined the stream and totally knocked me off. The perfect anti-manipulation is the closest thing to the truth that you can come up with in your head. You need to understand that shit. Observe everything. If you're being questioned, observe everything. Observe before and observe now. And observe why they're asking you a question. Because therein lies two truths. One, your perspective and your truth. And two, the truth that they're trying to frame you in. What does that mean? This is how manipulation sometimes works. They ask you a specific question, and your brain will start working on that question for them. Why? You just might be a helpful individual. And if you start working on that question for them, you're thinking for them. And that is no longer thinking for yourself, and you almost abandon your truth for what is going on in the moment. And if they're not for your best interest, you have to be careful about that. Which means, keep your truth in mind at all times. Cut through the bullshit. Use that edge of the sword, dude. Always. And when the edge doesn't pierce, and that person has been found out as a manipulator and you can't get away, that's when you step in the dark and say, fuck off, bitch, and run. Because you don't need to deal with that kind of shit. Honestly, you can just stroll away when you step off in the dark if you do it just right. Give them the good look, like, seriously. Fucking slow turn away. Look back at them like, seriously. Fucking seriously. And then turn around. Slowly walk away. Especially if you're in a crowd, nothing ends an argument quicker. Because you're safe. You got other people watching your back. The public is safe. Anyway, if you're not in the public, be careful about gray walking. That's when you gotta be smart. Smarter than badass is the key. But that is the key, isn't it? Being a badass is being a gray walker. It's one of the original terms. And on that, I'm gonna end it. Oh, except for this. My gray walking name, I had to name myself because I named the analogy. It's definitely Boo. Boo, or reaping machine, I don't know. My mom used to call me Boo Bear, and I hated it until I owned it because Mario, King Boo, such a cool character. Fucking just dipping out like that shit. And then I thought, dude, Boo in a hoodie would look just like a reap. A little reaper, dude. Just like this guy, dude. It's full circle because when I was a kid, I had this. I've shown this off before, but look, he looks like Boo in a hoodie, shaped by the hoodie himself. His fat little ghost body in there. Anyway, enough of that. That's the gray walking analogy completed. as far as I know, I don't think I left anything out. There is a lot. I left out the chaos and order balance. But the light is order and the darkness is chaos. It still makes sense, guys. Chaos and evil are not the same thing. Evil doesn't truly exist like that. It just doesn't. It's misunderstanding. And when it comes down to it, misunderstanding can be excruciatingly dark. And I don't mean that. I hate to say it. Misunderstanding does lead to kind of evil in a way, because evil is, it's not something to battle, it's something to watch out for. What is evil but a past act? Because you can't become a monster until you've done something monstrous. You have to be aware that you can become a monster, so you don't do something monstrous. And that's why we walk the gray path. And that's where I'll end it. Have a good night. Or good day. Or whatever it is. I'm going to play some games on another broadcast pretty soon. Take care.